I'm here with Mukesh Haikerwal. Mukesh, you were the former president of the AMA. You've got lots of experience in healthcare and clinical care. We've just finished some really interesting discussions about how we're managing chronic disease management at the moment and how it potentially could be improved moving forwards. I just wanted to ask you what you think some of the major challenges are in the industry to do with chronic disease at the moment.
Chronic disease is the big game in town across Australia, indeed across the world. 1 in 2, 50% of Australians has got a chronic disease, and 20% have at least 2. So that means there's a significant number of people out there that have some kind of chronic disease. The challenges are people don't believe they've got chronic disease. They think, I've got a bit of blood pressure or a bit of asthma, my blood pressure is a bit high. They don't believe that that's an issue. If we manage those issues better, you have better long-term health and longevity. The other side of the equation is that the way in which we do general practice today, where most care happens, is not set up to do chronic disease management better. And the reason it's not set up to do chronic disease better is that the funding model doesn't support that. And the funding model supports the old episodic care when somebody comes in with a broken finger or a pneumonia or something like that, and you come and you go, it's all over. Healthcare is not like that. And of course the other big thing is nobody has a single disease anymore. We've got multiple diseases. Yeah. So to manage that, manage it properly, manage it longitudinally is not well set up.
Yeah. And you mentioned a shift from, as you're saying, reactive care to proactive care. Are there any practices you're putting into your clinics that are moving towards that, or are there any methods you're using in your clinics to support that way of care moving forward?
We have an integrated health hub, we call it. We've got multiple disciplines in the same building, so that we have 18 GP consulting rooms. We've got the pharmacist on hand, we've got pathology on hand, we've got dentists, we've got podiatry, we've got physio, exercise physiology, diabetic educator, and specialists all in one space. We also have in our practice a chronic disease management coordinator who actually takes a proactive look at people's healthcare needs and actively encourages them to be part of their own healthcare by bringing them into the care planning process and supporting them to get up a care plan, using it and following up on it and making sure they're getting the care that they need long term.
Yeah, great. And that model's working well within the practices?
The model works well, but it's very time intensive and very people time intensive, and therefore it's costly, really. We're doing it because you can improve patients' outcomes and healthcare, but it's not really well supported by the Medicare system.
So do you think, despite not being supported by Medicare at the moment, do you think that that's the way it's moving for other clinics as well? Do you think we're going to go into a more integrated model where you can find all the specialists in the same place? Or
you can do that virtually. The main thing is that the infrastructure allowing us to do that is still very much pen and paper and fax, unfortunately. So our clinical tools don't bring in all the information about the patient from various places. So pathology comes in one way, radiology comes in another way, a specialist letter comes in one way, the allied health comes in another way, and you can't coordinate that and send it out to everybody. And that's where a tool that can enhance the process, can support the process, will make it better. I've always said in this space, make my life easier, don't make it more difficult. Mm-hmm. I've always said it's got to be, if you're going to use new tools, it's got to be useful, usable, and have utility. Yeah. 3 U's. And this is something that is the killer app, I guess, if you can make that happen. And I think that's what we're crying for in general practice land. We want to do the chronic disease management. The patients probably don't know that they need it, but when they do know they need it, they want to be able to do it continuously. And it will support that healthcare, improve the outcomes. And actually, when you get better outcomes and people staying well, you save costs for the community.
Yeah, wow. And obviously it's a pretty exciting time in healthcare at the moment with all the digital initiatives that are happening. Did you see this when you started your career in the early days? Did you expect healthcare to be where it is today, or is it completely different?
Look, you start off somewhere. I mean, I went to a brand new medical school in England. I was a seventh cohort, and the reason I chose that amongst my choices, it was fully computerized as best it could, with big Sony TVs with big cathode ray tubes. There weren't flat screens, but you actually had TVs in every room, and you could actually see stuff close by. And so I've always been a bit of a technophobe, I'm a technophile. And I've really enjoyed using technology, and that's something I've tried to do in all of my career as I've progressed through my general practice and advocacy roles. The use of technology should be seen as an enhancer, a supporter, and not a replacer of good healthcare, and can support us to do our work better. We work in teams, we need to enhance that team-based care. We work across public, private, in government, in hospital, out of hospital, and we need to make sure that everybody understands that we're working on the same hymn sheet, looking after the same patient whose hymn sheet it is, to make sure the patient's care isn't dropped between cracks or completely stuffed up by not understanding what the last person did.
Yeah, wow. And if you would have your time again, what would be your dream profession other than the one you have now?
I would have been a simultaneous translator in the United Nations. I love language.
Oh wow. Do you speak any other languages?
I have a play with French and German, a bit of Italian, Hindi quite well, I think. Some people would say, and a bit of English.
Multilingual, that's very good. Anyway, thank you very much for your time.